Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first episode, Mayor Fadness. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
For our first episode, we're just going to have conversation around a variety of subjects. But more importantly, my job and my goal with this podcast was not only to have just a casual conversation, but think about our community and think about Fishers and the things that we want to make sure that not only our business community hears, residents hears, but what I've really enjoyed having conversations with you about is really around your leadership, how we as a city have continued to evolve and transform. And, one of those themes you and I have talked about over the last few years is that transformational piece. And there's a variety of different ways that we could start our conversation today. But I really just want to take a step back and say thank you for number one for being on the podcast or agreeing to be have the podcast. But number two is really around your, when I got the job in 2020, you and I worked really closely on, okay, here's a bunch of fires.
Yeah.
And we're going to be innovative and creative through those things. And I think that helped our relationship from a chamber to a city. And from there, we've just continued to evolve, not only us as a chamber, but you as a city. And it's crazy to think that like the Browning Project, like that wasn't there in 2020, you know what I mean? And like First Internet, it's been really fun as a president of the chamber to see these concepts and ideas. I remember, honestly, man, I know I get into this, but like, I remember like I had our second kid. I'm in the hospital. And my wife's like, who are you on the phone with? I was like, Mayor Fadness, there's a big project. And it was the event center. And then other things. So wow. all those things that we've been talking about, those weren't like, I know they had a lot of years coming.
Yeah.
But my gosh, like the last 5 years, it's been really just pedal to the metal innovation. And so when I get all of that to wind up and saying like, as you kind of reflect as a mayor over even just the last 5 years, even like kind of in the middle of COVID and post-COVID, and what has that been like for you to see your city over the last 5 years, not only tackle challenges, but become, overnight just be able to see it transform, I guess.
Well,
that's not, I wasn't sure where
no.
So I know you and I had a conversation.
So I think out of all that adversity or maybe opportunity, it was both adversity and opportunity, I guess.
Yeah.
The relationship between the business community and the city really solidified itself. And there's a level of trust there.
Yeah.
That's really fundamental. That allows us to continue to evolve. And, I just think it's been change. My entire career has been marked by change. Every day it's either talking to my organization about change or talking to city council about change, talking to our residents about change. And I think you serve an interesting role. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on this, but I have always found the business community the one place you can turn to that understands fundamentally that the world is changing, that you need to evolve and adapt. So like when you're talking to your business members, do most of them embrace change or at least understand the need for change?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think they understand that in order for their own business, whatever product or things, if they are wading in water, it's still going backwards. So the more that they have, the less lulls and more moving and things like that. But I also think, and on the flip side, when you talk about a public relationship with the businesses, is quality of life and the things that attract their talent and the people that they want to attract is number one. Their people are number one. I think we saw that, not that it wasn't important post or pre-COVID, but getting people back to the office or engaging them in the things that they value. Or I'm not too sure that a lot of people bring their own lunch anymore.
And it's fascinating when we said group companies. Yeah. In the 90s, it was all about, are you near an interstate? Are you near an airport? 2000 to 2010, it was, are you near a trail or walkability? For the last decade, or at least the last 5 years, I would say in particular, do they have unique culinary opportunities nearby? Where can my people go to eat? It's really fascinating. There was this point in time, I have a picture somewhere, where Fishers was kind of soul searching. We were coming out of the housing recession of 08 and 09. We really kind of believed that we had been led astray, that our strategy was outdated because we were kind of like a vinyl village, suburban sprawl community. And we knew that wasn't sustainable. And I remember being in my office with another guy by the name of Tom Dickey. At the time he was working for the city. and we were whiteboarding and we were trying to figure out, okay, what are the things that the businesses that we want, what are they looking for? So we started writing all these things down. And then we're like, okay, well, that's going to be diametrically opposite of what residents want. So we're like, what do residents want? So we put that up on the board. And we had this aha moment, which today seems self-evident, but it wasn't then, which was, for the most part, what the types of businesses we wanted, what they wanted in their community was almost identical to what residents wanted. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, well, we need to double down on these things. And so for the last decade, you've seen this, at least I hope, a very clear strategy of kind of focusing in and doubling down on the things where there's that overlap that both residents appreciate and the business community appreciates. Now, not everyone does, right? I have plenty of people that think that growth is a bad thing.
Yes.
But I have found time and time again, especially in these like crazy political times where everything's polarized. And I'd say we were almost living in a time of populism where, people are kind of swept up in the emotion of things, that the business community, believe it or not, I think has actually the best long-term interest in mind for people, because they have a long-term approach to things. They have a vested interest in seeing a community be sustainable and vibrant for the long term.
Yeah.
And so I think your chamber represents a very important voice in ensuring those things happen, because I mean, you and I have had this conversation many times where an idea comes up and on Facebook, it gets real ugly, right? People are posting things, and then who's going to be the counter to that says, take a deep breath. Yep. 5 years from now, this is going to be really important to our city, and we need to think about it from a 5, 10, 15-year strategy, not a 5-minute strategy.
Yeah.
And I think you guys play a critical role in that.
Yeah. I think for us, what we've seen is, and I think we've done a good job in partnering together, is it's amazing when you actually ask businesses what they think. Like sometimes we assume. And so what we've done, like I always say, like even down to one of my favorite ordinances we've ever done is public safety ordinances, because that was one where I was, when you and I sat down, I was like, okay, I actually don't know
50
what they did, right?
Yeah.
And when we went to the community and they were like, actually, this will help us because this helps us understand, like when we have a problem, there's somewhere to go to. But that was one where I looked at that one. I was like, okay, Mayor, like either like they're going to be all on board with this, or they're going to be, hey, no. What was fascinating through that process was when we did the webinar and we had that conversation with a lot of businesses, it was the opposite. Not that I thought it was going to be bad, but it was more like, yeah, we need somewhere to go. We need somewhere. And this is something where we haven't had. And so it really taught me as well as a chamber leader, like, gosh, sometimes we don't just do the basics of just asking people or businesses of saying, hey, this is something that we've put together. What do you think of this?
Right.
And I thought that was the one where I know it seems kind of small, but I think it's made a big impact on how you guys function.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen marked decreases in the number of calls for service. And I think regulation serves two purposes. Sometimes regulation, the presence of it can really stymie growth. And other times, a thoughtful regulation can actually create growth, believe it or not. I mean, it just depends. And I think that thoughtful exploration and frankly, bouncing it past the people that are living and breathing it every day makes a huge difference. I mean, government doesn't always know best by any stretch of the imagination. And I have a fascination of like the entrepreneurial spirit, through Launch Fishers and all these places where I just have so much respect for people who decide to like put it all on the line and go out and start a business and then have to sweat payroll. I'm always find it fascinating when people are like, oh, you have such a big job. Well, guess what? My job, I know that the money is going to be there for providing services, whereas a small business owner, if they don't get that next contract or someone doesn't come in the door, they don't hit their sales mark, they're not going to be able to make payroll.
Yeah.
If you don't respect that, there's something very wrong with you, I think. And how do you think, generally speaking, like the business community is doing in Fishers today? Like, what are you hearing out there from the businesses?
That's a good question. I think for us, I will say this. I think there is a fascinating thing that I've seen over the last few years, which is large organizations investing more in the things we do. And you have small businesses who are living a lot of that day to day that are asking for, look, I'm trying to have access to the things that you're providing, but we need some help. And so what we've done, like I'll use nonprofits, they now get a free membership. Restaurants and retail now get $150 membership, a lower membership, because what we have heard is we want access to the things that you're great at and good at, the programming, the things like that. But the price point at the beginning is what deters us from engaging at that. And so that's us as an organization had to take a step back and say, well, if we look at the mission,
right?
If part of the people that support the mission are telling us we can't do the things you want us to do, then it's our job to adapt to that. And so that's what we've done, is reduce significant costs so they can spend that money elsewhere and engaging in the organization.
That's fascinating. And to your point, I mean, these bigger businesses, they need those support businesses,
right,
to create the ecosystem that makes it viable for them, right?
You want culinary experiences.
Absolutely.
You want the coffee shops. You want those things. Not only do they want them in their community, but they also want them when they go network and connect and have those opportunities as well. And if we are in between that, then it's our job to reduce costs in order to have them have access. I want First Internet to call me and say, hey, can I have a list of 10 coffee places in Fishers?
Right.
I don't want to say, oh, well, we only have one because they're not members.
Right.
That doesn't provide us value. So, and to go back to your question, I do think that sometimes in our economy, whether we like it or not, what's happening at a large federal level does play an impact and a role on the comfortability of the economy, of how businesses do things. But when it comes to, we just finished our legislative survey. The number one thing on the legislative survey that they want us to focus on in 2026 is quality of life.
Really?
Continue to invest in quality of life at a state level, at a local level, at a county level. And a lot of that, I think, is reactionary to this last legislative session.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it reminds us as businesses, and we had 165 businesses, of which pretty
wide,
500 plus to mom,
right?
And they all said, number one thing for us, for you to focus on, is quality of life. And I think that goes back to when you look at how you've transformed the city over the last 5 years and the things that you're investing in, it's very clear that those, whether you're a mom and pop or at Launch Fishers, starting your business, to the First Internet banks of the world, the Andretti's, those type of things, they are investing, no matter what the cost is, in those things that you are doing.
Yeah, it's really this kind of value proposition, right? Like, I've always believed that it's not that I'm never going to ask for $1 to provide services. It's that I'm adamant that I have to commit to you that I'm going to provide you $1.05 back in value.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what I found with the business community is they're not afraid of investing, because they do this in their companies. Like, they realize, to achieve my goals, I have to take a certain amount of informed risk, and I have to go invest in order to make a return. And I think as a city, we're in the same experience. I told someone this the other day, and it's probably not in a great summation of my role, but they asked me what it's like to be mayor in today's world. And I'm like, well, imagine being like a glorified captain of a cruise ship. That is basically what I am, is I am a cruise ship captain. And someone's like, what in the world are you talking about? Well, I have to create this experience for people. I have to have a great culinary environment. I have to have a safe environment. I have to provide entertainment. I have to have things for your children to do.
Yeah.
Like, I am basically a cruise ship director. And
I love it.
Because people can live anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses can go pretty much anywhere. Rewind like 150 to 200 years ago, a mayor of a city would have found people nothing more than like a burden. Because if the slaughterhouse or the steel plant or whatever major manufacturing facility was there, people were going to be there because they had to be there for the jobs. And so you just had to like deal with people. Today, like, you have to cater to people. That's such a change in your role. And so this quality of life thing that the business community is speaking to is the exact same thing that I'm speaking to, which is for them to get their employees, they have to cater to their employees. 150 years ago, I guarantee you, no one was catering to their employees, right?
No.
But today we're all in that same business. And what's difficult for the business community is that some of those things they can't actually provide on their own, right? Like a safe environment inside their walls they can, but outside their walls they can't. So they're wholly dependent upon the cruise ship director to provide that culinary experiences. You can have a cafeteria, but can you provide 42 different restaurants? No. So this symbiotic kind of relationship now between the municipality and the business community has never been more important and really never been more aligned.
Well, I think you see that as well with, like, I see that in a couple different areas where people may be spending $15 a square foot, but yet they're willing to, as a business, get up and move to a place that has those exact things at $35.
Absolutely.
And, and that always just, in my mind, I'm always like, wow, 15, like, you're getting a $15, $18 deal, and now you're going to pay 35, 38. But a lot of those businesses are like, yeah, but I need to. It's not even like I want to. I need to be in those central core areas or those areas because that's what my people, in order to keep my talent.
And if you sit and talk to mayors, you would say the same thing, which is, I can't believe we're spending money on landscaping and trails and, creating food accelerators and whatever else there is. It's the exact same pursuit of the same people.
I did. Now, the important question I have for you is it Norwegian cruise director or?
Well, I'm like 100% Norwegian, believe it or not.
Okay.
I am like a by
there we go.
By trade or by ethnicity, I should say.
That's funny. So when we talk about quality of life pieces, one of the things that I'm very passionate about, you're very passionate about, I do want to talk about just quickly, is around regionalism.
Yes,
that is an important piece of your world that you've really been a strong advocate for with CERTA and the place. It is, I had a chance a couple months ago, or maybe it was, about a couple months ago, to attend one of your meetings. And for those people that don't understand, number one, what I loved about sitting there is you have small town USA mixed with Noblesville and Carmel and Indianapolis. But you could feel in that room that everybody was working together or trying to work together to accomplish tasks.
And really for the first time ever.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I wanted to talk about is, as you have been a part of this group, what has that been like to bring on smaller communities and share that and work together to understand that Noblesville's competition is not Westfield. That Fishers' competition is not this. It is that if we are all not working together, actually, you said this great. I think you and when we had Larry at the luncheon, Larry made a good point of, look, we have a fork in the road as a region. We can be these things, or we can be the things we make fun of,
and we're headed that direction.
Right. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about the importance of why that group exists. But not only like in an educational standpoint, but how those relationships work together to understand that. I think that.
Well, I mean, we're a very polite culture here in Central Indiana.
Yes.
And Larry and I share a kindred spirit in that we believe in being candid and being critical of ourselves without pointing fingers. Like, these conversations aren't about condemning someone's actions so much as just being aware of where we are today. And our region's not doing well compared to most of our competitors. And what's scary is the people that are now our competitors, or even frankly, people we would aspire to become, are people that would have been 15, 20 years ago, we would have said they're behind us. Columbus, Ohio, no one would have ever put those people, that region, in the same category as us. Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. And I think, so there's a necessity there to start to work together collectively. The amount of people and the amount of economic activity that's occurring outside of Marion County today necessitates that whatever giant step we hope to take forward will have to be done collectively. And up until a few years ago, we had no regional public sector entity. We didn't work well together. It was all based on relationships. I remember a time when like Brainerd and Ballard got into it, and then Brainerd dropped out of the regional because I don't even remember what the issue was, but it was a personality thing. So bam, gone. And it has to live beyond an election cycle.
Yeah.
So now I think we actually have an opportunity. We've got a governmental structure under Indiana law. We have 31 cities now are a part of this in central Indiana, 2 counties. And we're really trying to tackle big things. And I'm fortunate enough, I'm humbled to lead that group. And now we're gonna take on our moonshot, where we are once and for all are gonna die trying to identify an aspirational vision for what central Indiana could be from an economic perspective. Like, if you were to ask anyone today, where are we going as a region?
Yeah.
No one could tell you.
Nope.
And that's unacceptable. So now we have to really do the hard work of saying, that's the mountain we're going to try to climb, and not be afraid that if we only get halfway up the mountain, somehow it's a failure. At least we got halfway up the mountain. In politics, there's just this fear of like stating a goal, because God forbid you don't make it. Even though if you spent a good portion of time and resources and you went a long ways, you're still further than you were when you started.
Yeah.
So it's a passion project of mine. I'm excited about the progress to date, and the real work is about to start. And that's the kind of stuff that energizes me.
Yeah. I truly appreciate it, because when we talk about the importance of regionalism, our businesses, that is by far one of the most important things, because their talent is not only living
Right
in this place or that place, but also, to your point, Columbus, Ohio is figuring it out.
They are figuring it out.
We were just there. We were Buckeye fans.
Yeah.
But like, they're figuring it out. And you're absolutely right. And that's where, when you said, just as you were saying it, what is Central Indiana's why? It is met with kind of that quietness of okay, well, I know what, I meet with you. I know yours. I know, X, Y, and Z. But for us as a region, you're right. I mean, it's
because I think aspiration is identity. Either your problems will consume your identity, or your aspirations will.
Yeah.
And to date, I think what has happened, we've atrophied into our problems and our challenges creating our identity, and not our aspirations and our efforts. And so I think we have to flip that switch. When I first became mayor, I kind of laid out this vision of saying we're going to be a smart, vibrant, entrepreneurial city. And I've said that 5 billion times. Yes. And I think our actions have filled the room up, so to speak, trying to pursue that. Well, that has become synonymous with who we are. Like, that is our identity. Again, if you focus on your problems, you become your problems. And so I really do think this is critical. And it's probably been 40 years since there's been, amateur sports capital of the world or country was really the last time you could point to say, that's what Indianapolis's vision was. And I'm one of these people, I'm not insecure about, to the world, we're Indianapolis. Once you decide to come here, I'll compete for you to be in Fishers, Indiana. Yeah. And one of the things we need to get to, I think we're close, is a maturity among our communities where, like, Mayor Finkham and I can collaborate on a whole bunch of stuff. And then if some opportunity comes in, we'll compete. Yep. Whoever wins. We need to be mature enough to the next day be able to go back and collaborate on other things. Yeah. Like, there's a time for collaboration. There's a time for competition. Yeah. Be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. And I think that's a value add to our business community 100%. And, as we kind of wind down and have our conversation today, I do want to hit on 3 kind of key areas. Nothing boring.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you.
But the one question I will have is, so let's just real quick, the event center.
Yes.
November will be 1 year.
Right.
Has it done what you had envisioned? I mean, has it surpassed the things you mean? I've now somebody that has enjoyed some Jeff Foxworthy, some fuel, some things like that. I've appreciated, but I just remember sitting in a room, you and I having this conversation, and many others, and seeing an idea turn to reality, and it seems to continue to be successful. But I was just curious, not just talking about we've really enjoyed this or that, but for you as a leader of the community, hey, we're going to invest in this. How have you felt over the past year?
Yeah, I think if I were to give us a grade, I'd say the building itself, the facility, is an A. The parking and logistics were probably at a C, and we're learning. The lineup was probably a B, and I hope to continue to improve to get even better world-class talent. The use of that building to attract additional development, I would give an A. I mean, there's more to come on that front, but you're going to see that whole area is going to be a city unto itself when it's all said and done. So all in all, was it a sound investment? Yes. Is it hitting its financial marks? Yes. Do we have good management there? Yes. And I think a great foundation to only improve from moving forward.
100%. Well, and my wife will attest it. Seeing Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani coming in.
Yeah, there you go. Those are points,
but those are, yeah. And I will say that one of my favorite things when we go to a show or things is when that somebody, that national comedian or singer or things like that, they're like, wow, welcome to Fisher. Like, hey, we're in Fisher. I'm like, hey, I love that
when Pat McAfee came out, like at the Fishers Freight, started talking about that. I mean, that's huge. That's a point of pride for our community. And this is a community, keep in mind, it's very much in its like teenage years.
Yeah.
And so, 10 years ago, if you were to say to someone that you would have any of what you just mentioned here, they would have said you're crazy.
Right.
So for us to be in a position now where our residents can realize what we're capable of, that's an exciting moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and then you guys have continued to invest in the parks.
Yes.
A lot. The last few years. I mean, obviously the last 10 years, but also definitely the last few years.
These people don't talk enough about that in these municipalities today in Hamilton County. We're rounding out over $100 million of investment in our Parks and Rec system over the last decade. And the community center coming online here shortly. The parks of White River, Geist Waterfront Park, the Agro Park. What I love about our park system is, yes, we have all the youth sports, and God, I know it because of the weekends I have these days, free boys, but the diversity of the park system that we're building, really excited about.
Yeah. Parks, it is amazing to see how parks have grown across, not only, you look at Hamilton County as a whole, just how all of our mayors and the towns have understood that quality of life and investing in our parks help us tenfold.
Goes back to that cruise ship director.
Cruise, provide some for kids, right?
Exactly.
There you go. Well, Mayor, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, number one, spending time with me to sit down and have a conversation about these things. I think it's important that we talk about whether it's leadership or what is this region looking like, or even, of course, all things Fishers.
Yeah.
But more importantly, thank you to sit down and have those conversations.
Yeah, this is fun. I look forward to mixing it up in the future.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you all for watching, and we appreciate it.